Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It's the one and only the Guerrilla coming to you live with my main man, the Algo Cowboy himself, the one and only Nick, aka the Sicilian Scallion, working the airwaves and making sure the broadcast coming out crispy and clean. You know what I mean? Check us out, roguenews.com. Follow us on X at ESW Rogue News, at ESW Rogue News. And we have with us, it's Tuesday, so Tuesdays is Kelleran's Corner, baby. We got Ben Kelleran here, oil and petroleum trader, par excellence, also a geopolitical, geostrategic mind himself, breaking down the things that most people often overlook. And with that being said, and all the links are in the description box. Ben, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me back. I think
it's a pleasure.
Be a good conversation. We've got a lot of interesting stuff going on in the last week with energy, so we can jump right into that if you want.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. And folks, let me tell you something. Energy is what dictates policy. It is the currency, the real commodity and currency of the entire global economy. Man, that's a lot of rhymes I just did. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, the thing that is funny to watch is you see. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Trump's comments on energy and oil prices since April he's basically backtracked on a lot of it.
What's going on right now with Trump? I mean, he's not on my he's not on my good list at this point.
Yeah, no, I
definitely on my.
But
I'm like, what the?
He's on my dare you not trust the plan, sir?
I know. I have a hard time trusting the plan when I don't know if this AP report is true or not. But Ben, did you hear about that report by Reuters and Associated Press? I'm not exactly sure, but 1.9 billion in relief aid is tied up based on individuals and/or states who are. If you try to boycott Israel, you're not getting a penny. Like that's just fucked up on so many levels. Like, what the hell is this? And what
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and the whole thing. We scrapped a trade deal with Canada because Canada recognizes a two-state solution with Palestine. Like, what the hell is this is America first or is Israel first? It's to the point where I'm just like, this guy's compromised to the hilt. I don't trust him at this point. Like, he's just on my shit list, man. But go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Velas is saying in the chat that the Israel provision has been dropped. So,
okay.
We'll see if that sticks. But it sounded like a lot of people are getting worked up about it on social media. So that's maybe why they are.
Good. We need to find out who are the politicians that backed it and get those idiots out of office. You know?
Yeah, I mean, good luck.
And we need to have APAC registered as a foreign agent on top of that.
Well, I think that's a long shot as things stand currently. But I think it'll be interesting to see because I think all these political developments are going to be interesting to watch. I had Tom Longo on my podcast yesterday, so that's up this morning. But he is like basically critical of people that are being too skeptical or too pessimistic on where things are headed, which I understand. I understand that all this stuff is going to take time for them to, in theory, go after Obama and the deep state and all this stuff, and we'll see what happens. I'm still not all that optimistic we actually are going to get some of those heads to roll, but I understand why it is something that could take 6 months or a year, or I mean, to work things through the court system is not something that happens quickly. So I understand the reasoning. I just am more in the camp where I'll believe it when I see it. So
yeah, 100%, man. I don't think it's for me to think the United States at this stage of the game in terms of who we have in office and who we have in the levers of control in government, to think that there's some sort of competent plan that has a 20, 30, 40-year outlook, a rival in terms of planning to what China is doing, to what Russia is doing. I think it's laughable at best. I mean, this is all I see is an empire in decline. All I see is the wheels coming off. Here, like Cowboy just put this up. Number of arrests so far, Ben. Number of arrests so far. Russian collusion hoax. Nothing. Right? Look at the whole COVID thing. Right? Is Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, is he under arrest? Is he? Does anybody know?
Doubt it.
I doubt it. Exactly.
Negative.
Exactly. And that's my thing, man. It's like nothing's happening, but trust the plan. Trust it.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how it all plays out. I am kind of in the camp where you have to work on your own thing or be building your way up towards a career escape valve, whatever you want to call it, where
an exit strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you see what's going on, this is why I think we like I understand why people want Trump, and he's definitely better than the alternative. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not the accelerationist retard types that think, oh, if we just had Kamala in there, it all collapse faster and that'd be good. Like, that's, I think, a juvenile way to look at it. But
yeah,
the way I kind of see things happening is Trump is, I think, kind of the last shot at fixing this inside the system.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't get fixed, then you're going to see more unrest, more political issues. And that's why I think it's basically something where if he doesn't do it, then it's not going to be something that can be done inside the system. And then you have, that's where I think you get to the Caesar, the strongman, whatever cult of personality that takes over, because that's kind of the default when you get into chaotic times where enough people just say, fix it. I don't care what you have to do it. And that's not something where you work everything through a giant bureaucracy. So that's one guy making the decisions, and he is held responsible for them, whether they go poorly or not. So
yeah, I agree. Energy markets, brother. What was Trump saying about energy markets? And let's in the broader sense, how are things playing out globally, especially now the BRICS, that are really coming online. The multipolar world is here. The unipolar world is dying a slow death, like a rattling death rattles of a dying jackal.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been interesting since April, I was talking to a couple buddies on what happened with all the tariff meltdown and what they did to energy markets with the conveniently timed tariff announcements. They're like, oh, we're going to send things into recession. OPEC is going to increase production at the same time. And they see oil puke in April. What they basically did was the U.S. is going to pump the brakes, or the U.S. energy industry is going to pump the brakes on investing in well completions, new drilling, because none of the guys in Texas, not none, but no one makes any significant amount of money with oil at $65 or $70 a barrel, which is why, even though people have worries about supply and worries about, oh, is demand all that strong, that's why you're not going to see oil. I think 70 is basically going to be a magnet where you're going to have oil prices roughly at 70 is kind of the floor. And will it be below that for a bit? Sure. But I think over the next 6 months, all this stuff is going to flush out, but you're going to see more of this where the rig count has basically been dropping every week since April, which is pretty unusual. Put up that screen there if you could. But what I think is going to happen is you see the same thing happening in frac spreads, which is well completions. You see all this stuff going on, and I think where that leads with the way shale wells are is they produce a lot of oil very quickly, but then they decline rapidly. So if they're not investing, you're going to see production start to roll over pretty quickly, where it's like within 3 to 6 months. And that's what I was kind of saying to some friends is in April, you basically started a 3 to 6 month countdown clock on what's going to happen in the U.S. energy sector. And we're seeing that start to play out now. As far as what sentiment does and what people think about energy, I kind of think it's going to take another several months to really flush out, where, I mean, it could be sometime early 2026 where you really get moving, but I think we're kind of in the final stages of the lull before the next big move in oil. So we'll kind of see how long it takes, but my guess is that let me see if I have this chart up right here. Yeah, so this is kind of what I expect is going to come. This is from a friend over at Crude Chronicles, who actually have to probably get back on my podcast soon. Mm-hmm. But what you kind of see is in these cycles, you have basically return to populism, what happens with the money, what happens with inflation, all this other stuff. And you kind of see that, okay, things are starting to move like they have in the past. And when that happens, it's just not going to be oil at $70 a barrel. But the thing that is interesting too is, like, I'm not in the peak oil camp. I think the peak oil guys are doomers and trying to
Yeah,
sell
100%. I don't believe in
fear
peak
porn.
oil. Yeah, I don't believe in
But
peak oil at all. I think it's bullshit.
yeah, and
You know?
what I think they are getting at or talking about where they're missing some of the nuance is, I don't think we're ever going to run out of oil. There's good arguments that oil is abiotic.
It is.
Comes from the center of the earth, which
100%. It's not fossil fuel, which is a misnomer, right? I mean, we're extracting oil at past 16,000 feet. There's no fossils past 16,000 feet.
Yeah, and I think the thing that people miss or don't say is that I don't think there's a ton of oil out there that we can develop at a profitable level at $60 a barrel, right?
Yeah.
And that's a funny comment, but it's true. Oil is a renewable, right? And that's the kind of thing where you look at some of these things and say, okay, I don't think we're ever going to run out. I think the entire modern civilization is built on it. And when you have a cycle that I think is coming where there's going to be massive changes in the financial system, massive changes in the monetary system, and potential for stagflation and other stuff that's going on, I think it's going to be a wild ride for a bunch of different commodities, and not just gold and precious metals, but energy and some other stuff too.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly, man. I think, I mean, you said the dirty S word, stagflation, and I think there's a very high propensity for us to get there. It's the worst of both worlds, you know, because it's fun. Like, I have, like, within my camp itself, I have people that are like, oh, it's going to be a hyperinflation, and the other guys, no, it's going to be deflation. I'm like, guys, we're going to get the worst of both worlds. You know?
Yeah, I have mixed views on what we're going to get over the next several years. I think there is some potential that we grow our way out of it, and this is one where, from my conversation with Tom yesterday, I think he does have a good point that the tariff revenue is starting to actually make a difference. All this stuff is starting to play out. It's going to be some time before it's fully up and running.
Yeah.
But I think basically the levers are getting pulled to reorganize the global economy. And what that means exactly I don't think anyone knows. Like, I think anyone that tells you they know exactly what's coming is blowing smoke.
Yeah.
But I think the general outline of, okay, inflation might not be ripping it. Everything's getting more expensive, 15% year over year over year. But are price levels going to come down? No. Right. So cost level, everything's going up, even if it's going up slower than it was a couple of years ago. And I think the thing that is interesting to see is you hear people talking about, oh, inflation's dead, all this other stuff, and still over the 2% target or whatever BS narrative they craft about the Cook CPI narrative anyway. But I think we're probably about to see the start of the next wave of inflation in the next, I don't know, 12 to 18 months. And with that, will there be enough growth to avoid like the stagflation outcome? Maybe. But I think the idea that like it's a good time to own bonds now because we're going to get a deflationary environment like across all assets, I think is silly.
Yeah, big time, man. It's like how much longer can they keep pumping this thing? We've blown the largest asset bubble in human history. Like, it's incredible. And the craziest thing is the asset bubbles have been blown so big. They're so far removed from the underlying asset itself. Trying to find any sort of ownership at the end of the day when the shit hits the fan is going to be a circus in and of itself, man.
Yeah. I think when all this stuff starts to like blow up or whatever you want to call it, you're going to see companies where I think there's eventually gravity that's going to start working on some of these markets where I just don't understand. Like there was I think earnings report after the market closed last week of Microsoft and Meta. And after hours, I think they added 440 billion market cap between
That's
those two
stupid.
companies.
Right.
It's just like, give me a break on these valuations not being completely untethered, right? It's all just casino garbage that is trading in where it's everyone's trading tickers in the casino as like trading sardines. They're not actually looking at these businesses.
No.
Right. Neither of those companies are 100 billion more valuable one day to the next.
No,
right?
no, never.
And
Look at fucking Nvidia. Like, explain to me. I want, I want somebody to sit across the table from me and explain to me how a graphics card company, okay, is worth more than ExxonMobil. Please explain to me. This is how devoid and removed from reality the whole entire markets are, man.
yeah. And I think people assuming that semiconductors are not going to cycle again is just silly.
Yeah.
But when you kind of have some of these distortions happening, it's there's a lot of people that take the attitude of, well, the music's playing, so you got to dance, right? And I just look at it and wonder how it all ends up, because one of the other things that a lot of people miss is a lot of these tech companies that have, I mean, to be fair, had a very good time for the last several years, have basically been, they've gone from CapEx light, right? They don't have to spend a bunch of money on their business. I'm going to share another chart here from same friend with the what's gone on with CapEx spend over the last decade for the tech companies. And it's just basically gone absolutely insane over the last handful of years.
Mm-hmm.
And chances are that's going to keep going at least for, I don't know, another 12 months or a couple of years, whatever it may be. And it goes back, like it always goes back to the capital cycle where it's like, are you really going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars to develop data centers and expect to get a good enough return to make that investment worth it? Or is it just the next fiber build out or whatever past like spending booms have looked like in the investment world, whether it's even, I mean, go back to railroads even, right? Go back far enough. All this stuff, you spend enough money and it's going to end poorly for the people invested in it.
Well, I think DeepSeek poked a nice hole in that as well, because they showed that the kind of money going into these companies is just not necessary. What's going to happen to all that capital now?
Because it's all about valuations, right? You get the valuations, and then you have the stock price. You take the stock price, you create other types of investment vehicles around it. Then you create derivatives around that, so on and so forth. This is just outright fraud. If any one of us were to do this stuff, we'd be in prison.
I think it is funny to see the 3x levered ETFs and MicroStrategy ETFs and all this other garbage. It's just, it's amazing to me that anyone puts their money in it. But I guess if you're not looking at markets as a way to buy a piece of a business, then this is where we get, right? If you get enough people that just look at it as a way to siphon money off the system to trade short term. Like I was talking to a friend about how some of these pod shops work the other day.
Yeah.
And the Wall Street pod shop model is fascinating and disgusting.
If you could explain to the listening audience what a pod shop is, so they know.
Yeah. So I'm not an expert on this because I just don't really dive into it that deeply. But basically, the way a pod shop works is you have a company like a Citadel or a Millennium, one of these giant asset managers that will have teams of guys, usually led by a couple or one portfolio manager, whatever it may be, and they will invest in anything, and then the company at the portfolio level or at the company will take and lever that up and then provide those returns to investors. So if you are running a pod, you basically can have anywhere from 30 to 100 names. But then I think a lot of the rule of thumb that I've heard is that if you have a 5% drawdown, you get your capital cut in half, like your portfolio, like they basically force liquidate half of what you own. And then if you have like 10% drawdown, you're fired. So it's a pretty interesting model, but these guys are basically shooting for 5, maybe 10% returns at the portfolio level. And then the company will just lever it to the tits. And that's what they provide to their investors is those returns. And it's supposed to be, if you have enough pods, like diversified return stream, blah, 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 all the mumbo jumbo you hear. But it really doesn't have anything to do with what markets are supposed to be, which is allocate capital, all the functions that you hear about in business school, where it's like, oh, it seems like a good idea. Let's invest in that. Or, yep, I'll buy the bonds of this company because they're definitely going to pay me back, right? All these things that you hear about in business school are just a thing of the past. I think they're coming back at some point, but when, I have no idea.
Yeah, unreal. Yeah, when the dust settles with all the stuff that's happening with the incredible malfeasance within the marketplace itself, man. No mark to market. It's incredible. It's just more bullshit on top of bullshit on top of bullshit on top of bullshit, and packaged and cut up and sold as AAA securities. It's unreal.
Yeah. And it's funny because it basically chokes off the investment in the real economy, in small business, in real productive industries, because people view it as, oh, the margins aren't as good on, say, a small business that we can loan to versus, oh, we can do some private equity deal, lever it up a whole bunch, and then that's our return. And it's basically the whole goal of something like private equity is to strip and pay out dividends and then sell it to someone else, and then it'll go bust. I think, what was the stat? I think it's like 60. It's like over half of companies owned and then sold by private equity go bankrupt within 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just like a giant asset stripping operation.
So it's wealth extraction scheme. The entire system is a wealth extraction scheme. It's incredible, man.
Yeah, it is. Like Ian Burlingame has said, they're basically just locusts, right?
Yes.
And it's frustrating to watch because, in theory, private equity should be something that's very good for the small business community, but it has turned into a way to enrich people that are looking for like the carry and private equity wealth that is basically just like, if you see, this will be a personal anecdote, but if you see, if you go to the dentist, for example, I went to the dentist like, I don't know, a year ago, a couple of years ago, maybe. And they were doing the basic cleaning, scan, all this stuff. And then they told me like, oh, you have like 2 or 3 cavities. You need to get fillings. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm going to call my dentist back in Seattle and see what he has to say. I'm going to send him the pictures. And he's like, yeah, no, you don't need fillings. So like I would not be surprised at all if that's a relatively new buy by a private equity firm, where like you see all these dentist office and doctor's offices and health insurance groups and all these different things getting rolled up. And like we basically turned a bunch of the financial economy into a giant parasite.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
Where,
And that's what happens when you feed the fire economy.
well, I think that's the frustrating thing is you see what America could be if we, like, I think you're going to need some version of top-down control to actually make some of these changes. But if you could take and put the brakes on the destructive aspects of what financialization does, and you basically could just say, all right, we're going to take some of these ideas and invest in like young guys trying to start a small business, or young guys trying to buy small businesses from a boomer that's retiring, or we're trying to make all these things function for a booming economy. I think that is something we could do, but it's going to take someone who knows what all this stuff could be and knows the destructive potential of it, but then is smart enough to kind of walk the fine line of and have some self-control, because that's where you see kind of past booms and busts where, I mean, I think it's part of it's human nature, but part of it is the financial system that's been created on purpose to basically gather assets up into the top whatever percentage, where they're always on the hunt for the next victim.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think you said it really well. Like looking at the stock market not as a way to purchase a part of a business, but a way to make money. I think you have like three groups of people. You have those people who look at it as a way to buy a part of a business, and then you have the other group who wants to just make money. Right, number go up, whatever. Most of them lose money anyway, but that may be whatever it is. And then there's people like us who see it for what it really is, and we know it's a scam, so we're just going to use it to make money, right? It's almost that like left curve, right curve, middle curve thing, where it's like the people on the way left of the curve are like, use it to make money. And the people on the right of the curve, like, use it to make money.
Yeah, the bell curve is undefeated and applies in many situations.
Right.
But I think there is something where you see, like you said, markets have nothing to do with fundamental value of business, and at least they don't anymore, in my opinion. And I think where that creates opportunities, if you can find stuff that has unique characteristics or different reasons that, hey, this is actually going to be a very good investment as far as a business goes, I think that's where you can find some of those opportunities. But it's it'd be tough to be looking in anywhere in technology and anywhere outside of stuff that is very cheap. And I always go back to the capital cycle, because that's like my framework of looking at markets is you have, and it's not just for public markets either. This applies to real estate and commercial real estate and all these different things, where if you have too much investment piling into any one area, the returns from that area are not going to be good. And that is at the same time where you see the bubbles creating anti-bubbles, where you have certain sectors or industries where you just don't have any investment going there. That's going to be generally a pretty good place to be. So,
yeah, agreed. Ben, what else is on your radar that you're seeing occurring right now that you're kind of worried about? Let's say maybe internationally, perhaps the Middle East, Eurasia, Asia. What do you see?
Yeah, I think the big thing that I wonder about is with the European trade deal that got done recently, where it seemed like the U.S. got pretty much everything they wanted. I wonder, and this is something where I talked to a couple people about, I kind of wonder what happened behind closed doors to make that deal slide through, where like Martin Armstrong and some other people have kind of commented on, okay, they think NATO is going to send 250,000 troops to Ukraine. They think Europe is going to expand what's going on there. I do wonder if that's part of what Trump gave, where he basically said, yeah, we're going to back NATO up and we're going to get more involved in Ukraine, which that has me interested, because what's going on in Europe, I think, is basically a giant shit show. Yeah. And EU is going to collapse. I'm going to keep saying it, basically, like a broken record. But I think what is coming for Europe and what's coming in Ukraine, that's one of the things where I don't really know how it's going to play out. I hope that the US can realize that there's no good outcomes of NATO and the US getting involved more than we already are, right? It's already a proxy war, right? But getting directly involved in Ukraine is a very, very bad idea.
It's a terrible idea. This whole nuclear posturing is a terrible idea. This whole we're gonna have Ohio class submarines, and that's supposed to do what? It's supposed to like get the normies here in the United States and these warhawk retarded halfwit generals over in the military incompetent complex, have a hard on. Oh, look, we're Ohio class submarines are fucking obsolete. The Trident 3 nuclear missile is 50 years old.
I will have you know, sir,
ridiculous.
that they bred an entirely new species of hamster to run those things. So we're back up to date.
Oh, there you go. Totally fine. We have war hamsters. Probably pulled out of the rear ends of some dudes out in San Francisco or something. I don't know.
No, they all came very, very out in the open once Richard Gere left the country.
That's a gerbil, man. That's a gerbil.
Same difference.
Both rodents.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, speaking of rodents, man, there's this phenomenon. I was made aware of this, but there's a phenomenon in New York City right now called scrats. Have you heard about this?
No.
Bro, it is apocalyptic. It's the end of the world.
Do I want to hear about this?
Yeah.
Am I going to regret it?
Is this like going to get us kicked off of YouTube or something?
No. So scrats are this. There is now a breeding population of squirrels and rats. And they are creating a crossbred chimera, for lack of a better word. It looks like a rat with the agilities and capabilities of a squirrel.
Wait, so terrifying. Is this created in a laboratory?
No, it's created in the woods in Central Park.
You're not supposed to, like, species shouldn't be able to interbreed like that.
Well, they're both rodents.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
like, hey, Dr. Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park said it best. Life finds a way.
That was a fucking movie, dude.
So what? Life finds a way, bro.
Let me see if I can find a picture of these scrats. This sounds like an urban legend.
No, it's not. I've seen videos. It's not an urban legend.
Scratatouille. Let's see. Hold on.
Anyway, Ben, getting back to business here.
In other news, the rig count is down another 10.
Wait, I thought we were going to unlock American energy. What's going on here?
Yeah, you like my transition to the topic there.
I love it.
Yeah, they also got Scramsters. They're going to run the new energy grid.
Damn it. Yeah, no, but the funny thing is with all these different things that you'd think would be science experiments, or the virus came from a bat eating a pangolin or whatever.
It was a bat kissing a pangolin. That's what
it's just amazing to me to see what people latch onto on social media and some of this other stuff, where there's so much noise in the media space right now, and it is 90% slop, and it's only getting worse because of AI and the AI generated garbage that's out there. Absolutely. And this is another reason that I'm not super bowled up on AI in general, is you have all these things happening, and the best they can do is like a celebrity rip off picture with giant tits. Like that's what we're going to use AI for, is basically.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. There's AI for the general public, right? Which is going to be used for all sorts of bullshit and low IQ activities. And then you have the real deal, which is going to be used by private equity. It's going to be used by the elites, and it's going to be a very powerful computational model using advanced algorithms. No way in hell is any of this going to be conscious and be like Skynet. But you get the gist.
Yeah, it just goes to show you like where the population is. We got this pretty amazing tool. I'm with you guys. I don't think we're going to see like the singularity, but it is pretty powerful. In fact, I was listening to Joaquin Flores. I tuned into his like live show today, and I'm like, who are these? There's like someone doing a podcast based on his information. Like, they are really kissing his ass. And I come to learn it was an AI thing that he put together, and he just put his findings into an engine, and it spat out a podcast. Like, dude, I would not know that this is fake. Like, I'm like, it sounded scripted, but I'm like, this seems really real. And then it said MAGA, but it said MAGA. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is so we have this amazing tool. You give it to like the general population, and it ends up like being like goon fuel. Like that's
Yeah, it
all they're
is.
going to use it for is
The-
gooning.
yeah, for real.
Like,
Man.
wait, you could have
Well-
an entire company run itself, and you're just concerned about gooning.
Well, here's the question that I am like a little bit worried about just for myself is like what happens when the AI is good enough to beat like the uncanny valley feeling you get from it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the thing that is fine for where things stand right now, where it's like you get the sense when you see the doctored videos of or it's not videos, but the AI generated videos of like Trump speaking and talking bullshit. You get the sense that you're like, is something off, or
Yeah.
it's not.
Oh, yeah. When you can't tell the difference at all.
Right. When that
that's-
point happens,
yeah.
that's what I'm nervous about.
Well,
What if
it's
I
already
told
here, man.
you we're
It's-
already there?
We're already there. I mean, look at
'Cause you wouldn't
VO3.
know it.
Look at Google's VO3. Hollywood is done. It's done.
Yeah, I saw it. Like they did basically a 10-minute Black Mirror episode, as good as any Black Mirror episode. And the only thing that really tipped me off, because I didn't know to look for AI, right? I didn't know it was AI. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty
You
good.
weren't
All
on
right, I'm
guard.
watching it.
Yeah.
And then some of the signs in the like there was like these picket signs and they were misspelled because AI can't spell anything for some reason. So there were the clues like that. But as far as the actual product, like it's kind of there. And if you want to get sort of conspiratorial or philosophical about it, if it was already there, you wouldn't know it. Right?
Yeah.
You just wouldn't know it. You'd think whatever you're seeing
the
is
thing
real.
Is you wonder. I don't know if you guys have seen the side by side pictures of like 1960s military technology and the 1968 Mustang, where it's like the picture of the SR-71 Blackbird. At the same time, you basically have the technology equivalent of the caveman playing with fire with cars in the 60s. Right? I do wonder if deep in some dark government hole somewhere, they're playing with technology that is 10 or 20 years ahead of what is publicly available right now.
I believe it. I believe there's some very advanced technology that the U.S. government is playing with. The problem is you can have the most advanced technology on God's green earth. The problem comes to how much can you actually field it, right? You could have a one-off advanced aircraft that could probably bend light around it, kind of like the Predator, in order to mask it from like visual identification, or even have it in a way where it could bend its wings so it can make incredibly sharp turns or whatnot, or use some sort of weapon systems that we're not even, we don't even think about. But how many of those can you actually field? That's the where the rubber meets the road, right? And then what is, I mean, we know from the bullshit of the F-22 and the F-35, for every hour spent in the air, it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 hours in maintenance, So it's like, that's the issue here with the United States. We're not a physical economy. We don't have a deep supply chain. People have no concept. I'm telling you, I talk to my guys who are in Shenzhen or whatnot, and I'm like, hey, they can have a mock-up of a smartphone at like 10 a.m., send it over from CAD over to a manufacturer. They can have a working model on the desk before they leave the office at like 5 p.m. That level of supply chain depth is something we do not possess, number one, because we decided to spend $36 trillion fighting wars for the banksters. We swallowed the poison pill of thinking that Wall Street, and the profits on the Dow and the S&P and the NASDAQ is actual reality. So everything went to feed the fire. We didn't like this fire. We didn't light it, and now we can't fight it. Now we have the fire economy, which is finance, insurance, and real estate, the speculative bubble that it is, and everything gets siphoned to it because there's no financial. Look, people are like, oh, we got to remanufacture. It'll never happen. Because to remanufacture something is completely, to have like a manufacturing industry is completely anathema to Wall Street. If you have a manufacturing powerhouse, then you cannot have financial fraud. right? You cannot have a fire economy. You cannot have the fire economy be 90% of your overall fucking GDP, right? No, you have. So what happens is manufacturing in the United States, so long as we have a central bank, so long as there's fractional lending, so long as there's there's rehypothecation, so long as there's derivatives, so long as like Wall Street's able to do whatever bullshit they can, and the CIA and all the intelligence agencies and the government alongside with it, we will never have manufacturing. And manufacturing will always be a cottage industry to finance. Always will be. And that's the problem.
You know what we're going to have, though?
Oh, go ahead.
Best goon stations.
That's all it is. Silicon Valley spends billions of dollars coming out with the next dick pic app. Here, take a dick pic. Send it to your friends. This company is valued at $2 billion.
And not to step all over Ben's, deal here. But we do have a hard stop coming up here. We got Jet next. So I figured maybe we can.
We got 10 minutes.
Yeah. Let Ben.
I'll get my last thoughts in. When you're talking about the fire, I just had the Billy Joel song going in my head.
We had one of our listeners, Hobo Sermons, wrote an awesome song about that. It was like a complete parody of "We Didn't Like the Fire." It was hilarious.
It was really good.
Yeah. I guess the one thing, maybe some pushback on the manufacturing coming back. I think that is possible. I don't know how much the manufacturing side can coexist with the hyper financialized side.
Exactly.
I think you can have what we have now as far as financialization to some extent, but are we going to have 3x levered MicroStrategy, like single stock ETFs? No. Like all that stuff has to go. And I think the thing that'll be interesting to watch is how fast some of the stuff changes or can change, because whether we like it or not, the government and people in power want some of these supply chains and need some of these supply chains to come back to the U.S. And you see that with deals like the Mountain Pass rare earths deal, where the DoD is investing directly in a rare earth mine and processing facility and that company. And like, so you're going to see all these different things happen, right?
Yeah, but that's minuscule. Like when you look at it, like let's think of it like you're in the energy.
Well, it's like turning an aircraft carrier. Yeah.
No, it's worse than that. It's monumentally worse than that. And I'll tell you why. This is the reason why that when TSMC and Intel tried to do these fucking chip plants in Arizona, it blew up in their faces, right? Because, okay, they buy a rare earth thing and they're going to buy a refinery. All of that requires extremely deep supply chain and processing, of which we do not have, and it will take decades to even build it. And when it comes to when it finally comes online, it's nothing. It's going to be like a limp-wristed, retarded child on a football field filled with professional athletes.
That's it's not going to start where it'll compete directly to China, but they are making some moves where it's like, I'm not saying it's going to go from 0 to 100 and they're going to catch up with where China is right away. I do think that
as somebody who worked in rare earths, I cut my teeth in brokering cobalt, vanadium, molybdenum, and this was out of Zimbabwe and Johannesburg in South Africa. And back then, we used to ship it from Joburg all the way up to Norway, where Falconbridge would refine it. Falconbridge had been bought out by Glencore years ago, like many years ago, shortly after I left that industry. But man, I'll tell you right now, even back then, this was in 03, right? 03, 04, 05, that whole 3 years, fucking China was coming in hot. The West still had all the rare earth. The Chinese just ravenously scooped up that market. Now the entire rare industry it's China. There's just no fucking way to get it done at a cost-effective manner. Let's just say we get this retarded kid out the door, right? The retarded kid comes out the door, but he's got to create a finished product at a price lower than what the Chinese could put out. Again, supply chain. The efficiency of the supply chain lowers the cost of doing business. They have that on lock. Again, we're spending 36 trillion so that Wall Street could go enrich itself, and these military incompetent complex assholes could take private jets and molest little boys. Whereas China's been building an industry that it's unshakable. I mean, people ask me, well, we're the indispensable country. No, the fuck we're not. We're not. It's China, man. That's why they laugh at these sanctions, these what is it? The tariffs and all. Yeah, okay, fine, tariffs, whatever. It's a different ball game, dude. It's like when you start looking at it from a logistical supply, the supply chain is everything. It's everything. We live and die on that thing.
I'm not debating that they have a huge head start. I'm just saying that we're not sitting there doing nothing anymore, right? So is it something where we're going to have like a mature industry refining complex for rare earths anytime soon? No, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I think that's the thing that, I guess to wrap up, that I think is a good point that Tom made is like, if you don't have at least a little bit of hope that there are some things where the U.S. is taking a step in the right direction, then you're going to be overly pessimistic about the future, about some of these things. So I think that's what I'll leave with is like, am I skeptical? Am I pragmatic in like looking at supply chains, looking at energy, looking at all these things? Yeah. Do I have a little bit of hope that the U.S. can basically figure this shit out very quickly because we kind of always have in the past? I think we can do it.
Yeah, we're not Ethiopia. Like,
we're not Ethiopia. It takes this is all leverage on one thing alone. Number one,
not yet, at least on demographics.
No. If you go to Minnesota,
what you talking about?
I'll say this, right? Ben, are our rig counts, our oil rig, our energy rig counts, are they up or down?
I mean, they're down every week since April. I think that's at least as much of a function of oil price and the whole sector.
Yeah.
Basically thinking Trump is going to try another rug pull on them, which I understand. So they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, they are doing the right thing. Until this country gets serious about its energy, that's where it all begins for us. Is energy and infrastructure for the energy. And then every other industry and everything's built off that. Yep. Everything else is branched off that. We keep fucking around and playing political games with energy. This is what's killing us. This is what's keeping us in the ground. It's energy. That's on the physical side. On the financial side, we need to reinstate Glass-Steagall. Okay? We need to reinstate the separation between retail banking and investment banking. That needs to come back into effect ASAP. We get those two things in play, then we have a chance of competing with anybody. In about 10, 20 years, we will be an absolutely unbeatable country in terms of proficiency, in terms of capability, in terms of marketability, right? But until then, man, it's like this is bullshit. Every 4 years, a new thing. What happens when Trump is gone next year? And then we got what is it got? JD Vance, where everybody's making that funny ass meme with him with the fat face.
What did you say? The meme says like, "Have you said thank you? You haven't said thank you.
Thank you." Like, what's going to happen with the next idiot that comes in? And this is the cycle. Like, how can any country take any country in the multipolar world? Why would they take us seriously? It's like every 4 years. It's like dealing with like a schizophrenic, dealing with somebody who's in your family who's like schizophrenic. Like, you don't know how to deal with this guy.
That's the thing is with the revolving door of every 4 years, you have a new leader. That's why I think another reason we're going to go to something more durable, like a kind of strong man or Caesar or a monarch eventually. No.
It has to happen. I mean, but again, it's terrifying. I mean, it's like we need like somebody. We need a Vladimir Putin. We need a Lee Kuan Yew, right? We need somebody like along those lines to bring us back.
Well, you need an American true, like when I say loyalist, I mean loyal to American roots, and they need to be benevolent, and that's an awful lot of trust to put into somebody. Which is why I mean, the current system we have is democracy, and it seems as if we don't have any, like, we're not making any difference now. So I guess maybe we try something else. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the general long-term arc of history leads towards one monarch, and they basically delegate from there. But you need to have someone at the top who rules, I mean, in the best interest of the people, in the best interest of the country. And we don't have that right now.
No, we don't. We're in a bad predicament when you start you start taking us apart modularly. It's a pretty bad situation. It's a lot of fixing that needs to happen. Energy first. I agree. Energy first.
10 or 20 years.
Yeah. And with that being said, Ben, thank you for being on with us, man. Great show today. Cowboy, thank you for putting it together. Folks, we have the scientist at large next, the one and only Jet Blake, and keep it locked and loaded right here. And check out the Contrarian Corner. Check out Ben's work. Make sure you subscribe to his publications as well as his website.
All the links are in the description.
All the links are in the description box. Thank you all for listening. Cowboy, take it away.